Gibraltar is both universal and local, both macroscopic and microscopic. Gibraltarians shared the global experience of the coronavirus outbreak, yet the rock's unique culture and geography shaped their distinct path through the pandemic. Gibraltar became one of the first countries on the planet to fully vaccinate its adult population. As masks are discarded, restrictions lifted, and sporting events resume, Gibraltar has become a test bed for the return to normal. History is still unfolding, but 1 year on, Gibraltarians are telling their stories of life in the bubble. Talk of a COVID-19 vaccine began when the pandemic was still in its early stages. Science unfolded in public as never before. Words like epidemiology, peer review, and clinical trial became everyday vocabulary. People were talking about virology and public health on high streets and social media. To many, vaccine development has been a remarkable show of what scientists can achieve in collaboration, unfettered by bureaucracy and lack of funds. To others, it remains a cause for hesitancy or scepticism. This January, nearly 6,000 Pfizer vaccines arrived in Gibraltar on board a military aircraft, and community vaccination began. More doses would soon follow. Now, the entire adult population of Gibraltar has been vaccinated.
We had to do a lot of training before we actually started the vaccine program. So every single nurse who was working in the vaccine program had to complete online training on both the Pfizer and the AstraZeneca, just to prepare ourselves just in case. We have been administering the Pfizer at the ICC. We also had to refresh our training in anaphylaxis, so we were fully prepared for anything and everything that can happen. So together with the GPs that were actually redeployed to the vaccine centre, we continuously kept updating ourselves, because as weeks went on, we had more and more information on how effective it was and what percentage of people were having it, the immunity response, whether the age groups that could have it, whether pregnant women could have it, whether breastfeeding women could have it. So everything was changing along the way. The more information, the more positive it was looking. The more we could see about what was happening in other countries, we were responding. We were responding, I would say, even better, because we had a huge response. We were administering to most of the population, and COVID started dying down. Everything in that respect started quieting. So it was like, this is working. This is it. This is going to change everything for us.
Okay. There you go. Just relax your arm, right? It goes into your muscle. There we go. Okay, just press hard there.
It was almost like a morale boost. It was a morale boost. There was a light at the end of this tunnel. There's something, and there was all that speculation whether it worked or it didn't work. And for us, it was like, look, it has to work. And we're so grateful that it has. And we all got that second wind, the second half energy of a football match. We, even though we were already giving it our all, it was, come on, even more. We didn't think that we could get any much more boost of energy, and we did. And when we started seeing the roll out, and we were like, this could be it, this could be the end. And I really hope it stays, because it was the worst few months of my career, I would say, in terms of what we saw.
Very well, no effect at all, just a bit of pain on my arm, but it was okay.
fine, no problem at the moment, feeling fine. So let's wait and see for this one. Let's see how it goes.
I'm feeling very well and very grateful and full of admiration for the wonderful work that they're doing.
The best. They were the first ones to come down. Remember, this was the first time they were out, so the taxi association was brilliant because they volunteered and they arranged together with the admin section to bring them down, have the vaccines, take them back up. So the whole of Gibraltar pulled in together to be able to provide this service. It's not just the nurses who actually gave the vaccines. Everybody pulled in, and it was brilliant. And they were so grateful. So grateful. The thank yous that we've received in the vaccination centre has been overwhelming because everybody is so just appreciating what we've done, what we're doing, and how this program has managed to change everything. So I must say they were just absolutely best.
It's been perfect. I went in and they had asked some questions, they took my temperature, and I just sat there after I had my vaccine for 15 minutes. They asked me if I was feeling okay, and then they asked me whether I would come to have an interview on television. So here I am. Everything very well organized. I'm very grateful to all of them.
I'm very impressed with the efficiency of this place. On arrival, hand sanitised, a new mask, despite me coming with a new mask myself. I was taken over to the check-in desk, checked in, given the paperwork. I sat down, within a minute I was called forward. I was shown where to sit, I was jabbed, I was taken to a recovery room in case I had any after effects, and at all stages everyone was very smiley and very helpful. It is incredibly slick. I'm keen to have had it. There was never any doubt that I would want it, and I hope everyone else feels the same.
Personally, I feel really, really honoured and really privileged to be a part of this because it's something that for the community. The coronavirus has been something major that has impacted our community and for over a year now, and now we're finally seeing the light. Now people are feeling hopeful that this is finally reaching its end.
Not really, don't think about it. I'm right now still getting on with it because we still haven't finished. We're still in the vaccination program. We've still got a few more weeks to go. So way to go, Jib, you know, we were the limelight. We've done outstandingly well. The whole of Gibraltar, you know, has contributed to us being able to achieve this. So, you know, we're an example to the way that a community has pulled in together to be able to achieve what we've achieved. Well, we should be proud. We should be proud.
We've got to be proud, but we've got to be cautious. We haven't had a positive case in a resident for over, 6 weeks now. So that kind of proves the science. But it doesn't mean that we let down our guard. And that's got to be a very important message. We are vaccinated, which means that, you know, from our point of view, we need to go back to being more human. We shouldn't have restrictions. We are vaccinated, we're protected. But we still need to be careful. We've got very few restrictions in place, but we also have to be mindful, and because what we've done is remove the restrictions and try to move the shift more to self-responsibility.
Now we want just looking at the COVID results. Every morning we'd look at the COVID and the vaccines and go, oh, a bit more, oh, a bit more. Oh, half the population has had the first one. And then we would think, and obviously it was extended to cross-frontier workers as well. We thought we're going to have we're forming a bubble again.
But again, a vaccine is not 100% effective.
No.
It will stop you
From
getting into
really
hospital
sick,
and getting
maybe.
really sick, maybe. But again, if it's effective against the variant, so we still have to walk
It's
slowly.
still a new virus, and I think people don't realise that, you know. And you know, it's already been proven that it's changing with the different variants. So the more people that catch COVID, then the virus changes.
As viruses spread, they constantly change. These changes are caused by the chance mutation of genes. Mutations can cause new variants of a virus. This natural process is fueling the rapid evolution of coronavirus. Genetic variations produce different physical traits in all organisms. In animals, birds, fish, humans. They are responsible for diversity in nature, for the weird and wonderful bounty of the natural world. Some random variations produce traits that make an organism more likely to survive and reproduce in an environment. Successful variations pass down to future generations. As variation continues, organisms change and evolve. In cell-based organisms, like birds or humans, this process may take thousands or millions of years. In viruses, it all happens much, much faster. Coronavirus is evolving in front of our eyes. Successful variations have traits that help a virus to survive and thrive. Perhaps they make the virus more infectious or more resistant to treatments and vaccines. The most successful become variants of concern. New variants of coronavirus are identified by number, B117, B1351, but are more commonly referred to by the country in which they were first identified. The UK variant, the South African variant, the Brazilian variant, and now, in June 2021, the Indian variant. As the pandemic rolls on, global researchers are trying to identify new variants as soon as they emerge. They are figuring out what to do about them. It could mean the redesign of vaccines or new public health methods to keep new variants under control. We have no idea what this process of mutation and variation will throw at us next. But as summer 2021 begins, this is where we are.
My immediate concern is, can we become too laxed?
Yeah.
I'm not saying we've got to be paranoid or we are vaccinated, it's a good step forward, but we have to see how this evolves, whether it does protect us against these Indian variants. People, it's in India. We get a lot of crew changes, ships are here in a couple of days, air travel is... So that's my concern, that we become too laxed. I think we still have to tread slowly back to the new norm, which in a way will never be normal, but tread slowly.
Yeah, not for a long time, I think, you know, and I agree with Nathan. We just have to take it, you know, and keep the measures in place. I think the measure, you know, because what we had noticed is that with COVID, because we had all the public health measures in place, we actually had no flu activity in the winter, and RSV, which causes bronchiolitis in children, and we had very few admissions this last winter. So the public measures work.
I feel COVID is going to be around forever because now it's been identified as a virus, so it's here to stay. So there will always be a few cases here and there.
Like TB or like other diseases, I suppose.
That's right, like any other diseases that are around. The vaccine program has been very successful, so hopefully that will save us from any future pandemics here in Gibraltar. But then we don't know how effective the vaccine is going to be. Will the virus change? Will something else come along? But that we'll have to face when it comes. At the moment, I just think we need to take a deep breath, recharge batteries.
Enjoy the summer.
And enjoy the summer, yes.
Basically, at first, when patients used to arrive, the main thing was the struggling with their breathing and the fear in their eyes mainly. The support that we had to provide and the treatment was very useful for them, but in ways was very uncomfortable at the same time. Be it with non-invasive ventilation, which was a mask which covered the whole face, delivering pressures to help them breathe, or eventually if they didn't do too well on that, or the high flow oxygen, which was another form of respiratory support to be delivered. If they didn't do too well on that, they would then need to be ventilated, so have to go into an induced coma and become medically sedated and then ventilated and supported by us. I think it was scary for them because on many occasions the patients would tell you, "I'm scared," or tell my family I love them. I think that was the hardest part.
When I contracted it myself, that was quite scary for me for the first couple of days, because I had seen people that were so ill on the ward that my first thought was, oh my God, am I going to end up on one of these machines as well? I mean, luckily I didn't, and I recovered at home. But for the first couple of days, it was a bit, what will happen? Will I have to call an ambulance to take me?
Another part that would also play a difficult thing on my mind was the way how people thought COVID was not what it was, being told it's all fake and not trusting in you. And even with friends, it would happen. I used to be, it's not true, and as much as you can inform them or teach them, they're never going to understand. And I don't think anyone realized how COVID was until it hit them personally, especially with families. And I didn't feel it needed to get to that point, because if anyone dies, they still died. If they had an illness prior to that, there's still a person who died. And it doesn't matter if they were 90-year-old, 50, they're still a person. And for me, that was very difficult to take in. Because within nursing, you don't want anyone to die, but it is part of my job. So I think that was the most difficult thing to work with.
Eto no e flu normal, and I think a lot of us fell into this false sense of security until obviously Christmas hit, and some of our patients even admitted, they were like, I went and had dinner with my family. We thought there was nothing. It was what no iba a pasar, and I had the swab. Estaba bien. Y unfortunately, sometimes they came in groups. It wasn't just one member of the family. It was 2 or 3 who had gone to that dinner, and then unfortunately, that's when a lot of people used to realize this isn't a joke. This is stay home, and it's even if you're young, it's not about yourself, it's about the elderly.
I think people just need to be a bit more responsible within themselves. They just need to recognize that just because COVID didn't hit them personally, or if they got it within themselves and they were feeling just fine, doesn't mean that COVID didn't affect other people. And that's where you start to stop and think and question what people's morals are in life. And any person that has an illness, be it cancer, cardiac diseases, respiratory diseases, when they die, it's still a loss. So even if it's COVID, it's still a loss, and someone died. Be it a father, a granddad, grandmother, mum, a sister, a friend. For me, it comes down to a person has died. So for those who still believe COVID is a joke, for me it's not. And not only for me, but for my whole team. What we lived, I would not wish it upon anyone, and I don't think I'd want to relive it again.
Alongside all of this, we were also doing research, because we did the research with the saliva testing, because we thought we would try and collect saliva, which is easier. We also tested...
We would do serology as well.
Yeah, we also tested half of the population.
Yeah, tested random sampling as well.
Yeah.
The thing is, people fail to understand this is a new virus.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this if you did that already?
And it's
There's
not
always
flu.
new stuff coming out.
I think people think, oh, you know, this is like the flu, and it's not. You know, and we're seeing that now with long COVID. I mean, I don't know whether, I think Dr. Mehta's doing some research around long COVID. You know, we have people here that have had COVID, actually didn't pass it that bad. Some of them were not even hospitalised, but yet they're still suffering, you know, sort of 6 months down the line, you know, with their tiredness. Some people still don't have their taste or smell back. You know, some people have got lung problems, you know, clotting. We've seen people with clotting issues. So, you know, these are the things that people they haven't seen.
I have worked a lot, but I celebrated Christmas in March, and it's probably one of the highlights when you get to be with your family again and just spend time with your family again. So for me, it's just been able to be home at some point, and hopefully I'll be able to have more time at home soon.
Yeah.
It's been the first time in, I think, 7 years I've been here, we actually had a falling out between each other.
Yeah.
Like a married couple, arguing.
Yeah, we did.
And it's because of the stress. We couldn't cope with contact tracing, swabbing. That's why the teams had to expand, the drive-through was set up. It was too much. And you want to take it all on because, oh no, I can do it. You can't.
Yeah.
You need the team and you need the community. And I think everyone pulled in and did their bit, to be honest.
Driving home, I try to just, I can't bring this home to my family kind of situation. And there were days of weaknesses, obviously, where you just sit on the sofa and you think, and obviously my wife would like reassure me and stuff. And sometimes I think people forget, like, we have families as well, and like on my day off, I would be on my phone, and if there's problems at home, you have to deal with it, and you have to try and learn to separate yourself from work and just let yourself grow. That those experiences develop you rather than bring you down.
You know, when it hit me when one night my son said, "When's my real dad coming back?" Because my son said we were working non-stop.
Yeah.
And that's when I thought, you have to do it, somebody has to do it.
We've had to work extremely long hours, and we've had to deal with COVID in parallel to dealing with the demands of Brexit as well. So I think that for a lot of people, there's been very little sleep during the last year because we just had to keep going. But the adrenaline keeps you going because you know you've got to do it, and if it's got to be done, it's got to be done.
You hear the campaigns about the mental health and to try and push forward and to speak, and there have been a few times where I thought, well, is it normal how I'm feeling, or am I getting like a PTSD kind of scenario? And it's difficult. I don't know, and I think yes, if I see this carries on for months, I probably would go just even to speak to someone. I'm not gonna lie, talking to you at the moment is getting that therapeutic effect a bit, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. Yeah.
And obviously just trying to accept everything that was coming and being sad and not wanting to talk about it, especially with my partner. It was very difficult for me to express myself with him, and obviously not being able to talk about everything because of confidentiality, and just crying for hours on end and being very depressed in myself. But I used to wake up in the morning and I had to face it again. And I always thought, these patients are in there alone, and all they have right now is me, my team. So if that's all they have, I have to do it. If not, who's gonna come in and do it? That's how it was for me.
I don't think I would change anything. I don't think you can. It's a pandemic. It was a changing virus. You know, I think it's brought out the best in some people, it's brought out the worst in some people. Yeah. And yeah, hindsight is very, very good to know, but you know, we've learned loads. And you know, just talking about it today, you know, just think where we are now today to where we were like 18 months ago. You know, I think, yeah, and hopefully, you know, pandemics, we won't see another one. I hope.
I think
in my lifetime anyway.
It's very easy to criticize decisions, measures, it's very easy.
Yeah.
But you've got to look at the broader picture. I'm not just taking care of one patient, it's 34 others on the wards, and it's not just you, it's the community. So sometimes we become a bit selfish and criticize decisions because it's not what I want to hear.
Yeah.
But ultimately it's to protect other people as well. So.
Yeah, and people sometimes think that we are like victimizing against them because they can't do, but you know, you have to look at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is not just Gibraltar, it's worldwide, you know, because this virus is still there, you know, and there are countries that are still affected and are still going through waves.
Now, Gibraltar is under the microscope, a test bed for the impact of community vaccination. The outcome is unknown, but there is talk of a return to normal, of hope. Gibraltarian stories of life in the bubble are part of a worldwide narrative, and that is a story that is still being written.